What's in the idea of self? You know, I've been thinking a lot about this because I'm watching my kids grow up, and like they're all kind of raised the same. They've had different inputs, and some of them had one's lived through an actual pandemic, was born during it. So I get that, but I'm like, but what is in a self? Like, I don't know if you remember like being a little kid and then being a teenager, and then somewhere in between there you started figuring out who you were. For me, it was like I'd always hear my friends' different laughs, and I was like, well, that's a cool laugh. I didn't really want to change my own laugh because I don't even know what my own laugh sounds like, but I'd always be like, that's cool. And then I started thinking of like, who is it you want to become, right? Like, so the question becomes, are we ourselves? Are we the version of ourselves that's trying to become someone else? Or are we the version of ourselves that's trying to become a better version of ourselves? I don't know. But I think that whole idea is going to get really convoluted and or confused when you start realizing that AI is going to distill large ideas down to things that pretty much anyone can read, but not necessarily understand, right? Because knowledge is really the application of information, right? Versus just having information. Each one of us, technically, has the world at our fingertips. And how often are we really exploring the world at our fingertips? We're not, right? We're shopping, we're liking, we're commenting, we're doing things. And some of us are going to aspire to more because there's a certain kind of, like, what am I doing with my life when you just kind of do that? But I wish there was a way for us to say, well, I'm on a mission to figure out who it is I am at my core, and then I want to become the best version of that. I actually don't think it's as complicated as it may sound coming from me right now. You know what you like. You know who you are at your core, and there's lots of other people who've input into you. There's people you follow, there's things you like. I don't have fashion sense, so that's not really a huge blind spot for me on that. But what I will say is, if you like who you are, or you like parts of yourself, build on those parts, right? Because if you're here, you're perfect. Let's be very clear about that. You don't need to change a single thing. But you do have to ask yourself, who am I going to become as I keep getting older? Because whether we like it or not, time waits for no man or woman. They just don't. It's going to keep going. So with that being true, who and how are you going to keep evolving and becoming the better version of yourself? Because there's a responsibility each one of us has to the next generation coming up to be the best version of who we're supposed to become. So have a thought about that. And let's see who we really are.